Tracy, what are you doing here?
Wow, cepat kasih dia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What have you been doing?
Lai, I show you my secret
Okay,
place.
Begin your senior living journey with us. Let's live a happier, healthier life together.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, The Importance of Professional Elderly Care and Post-Hospitalization Recovery Care. My name is Christina, and I'm going to be your host. Thank you for spending your morning with us. Silver Circle by Commune Wellness is an ongoing webinar series conducted and supported by our community partners as well as industry experts. With a new month brings new topics to learn and discover. This month, our sessions are on the weekends to make it more accessible to many of you as we explore topics of caregiving with CARE Concierge. Stick with us today and take part in the Q&A to score some prizes from Commune Living Bangsar South. All you have to do is throw in a couple of questions for the Q&A and fill up the post-event form at the end of the webinar. Right, so before we kick off our discussions for today, I would like to really quickly take you through an introduction to Commune Living and Wellness, the largest integrated co-living and wellness hub in Southeast Asia. It is a fully integrated, community-focused approach towards senior living, one that revolutionizes the idea of active aging in Malaysia. With close to 900 service suites, Commune Living and Wellness aims to cater to elders on varying levels of lifestyle and medical care, from independent living to assisted living. Commune Living and Wellness also focuses on creating a holistic environment for seniors, ensuring a quality life into the golden years. Hence the focus on these three key components: co-living, wellness hub, and senior care. Our wellness hub boasts over 65,000 square feet of medical, TCM, and wellness specialists to care for your health and well-being. And then as for our senior care, it features both senior living options, independent and assisted. At present, our senior care partners include Commune Care and Tong Sing Tang. The co-living component is what makes us stand out. Similar to the co-working business model, the senior co-living offers a fine balance of private and shared spaces. So our on-site amenities are aplenty, with hopes of building a sense of community. Recreational, social, and educational activities will be made available in collaboration with our senior care partners, where we will see activities that relate to fitness workouts, leisure activities, talks and courses, workshops, as well as outings and excursions. We want to encourage seniors to maintain somewhat of an active lifestyle while retaining their independence. So we're opening our doors very soon next year. If you have any questions or if you would like to get in touch with us, our details are up on the screen right now, along with a QR code for you to scan on your mobile devices. I will leave that up for a few more seconds for you to take down any of the information you may need. Right, so today we are joined again by Martin Yap, CEO and founder of CARE Concierge. He's an architect by training with over a decade of experience in the Asian community. Martin founded CARE Concierge, which promotes the concept of Asian in care and is today a pioneer in providing an option for seniors to age in the comforts of their home. CARE Concierge is one of the selected winners for Khazanah Impact Innovation Challenge to further enhance the Asian status in Malaysia. Recently, UAE Development entered into an agreement with CARE Concierge to jointly set up Commune Care, the caregiving business at Commune Living and Wellness. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Christina.
Before I hand over the mic to Martin, I just wanted to do a quick housekeeping. Make sure that so if you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box, not the chat box. We will bring them up at the end of the presentation. Without further ado, over to you, Martin.
Thank you so much, Christina. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to share my screen. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for, it's a privilege and honor to be doing this webinar today, especially on a Saturday morning. So thank you, everyone that was able to wake up to, to attend this webinar. So today I'll be talking about the importance of professional elderly care and post-hospitalisation recovery, and also a little bit about ourselves as a partner, also as an operator for Commune Living and Wellness. So thank you very much. Okay, so a little bit about ourselves. So CARE Concierge is our award-winning care service provider that specializes in elder care and post-hospitalisation recovery care services. We, as generally provide nurses, professional nurses, therapists, and caregivers to give you an integrated, comprehensive care that's supported by a proprietary tech platform. So we actually, on our history, we've actually been running more than 8 centers, taking care of elderly care across the nationwide. And so I'll just guide you through what we've done, experiences, and also about the professional care that we provide. So to begin, we start off with the spectrum of care for older adults. Just to give an introduction, basically for senior care, there are basically 4 categories that we look at, 4 stages actually, from independent all the way to palliative. And each different stage has different types of services of care that you provide. So in our box here, we look at if you are caring for for a patient or resident at home, it's called home care. Then we have daycare centers, nursing home, assisted living units, and independent living units, all at different stages of the spectrum. And then we go into actually what is the difference between the different services and products. But this is generally what we do. So to begin with, for home care, basically it's a concept of aging in place at home that we provide our nurses, therapists, and caregivers for the elder care and post-hospitalisation. That means that for the senior, we actually send our caregivers and also physiotherapists, anyone that you require to actually stay at home as long as possible. So that's also the concept of aging in place. Daycare is really about the activities on a day basis that you go. It's almost similar to having a club. That's all for active seniors to then pursue their interests and passions in a very comfortable environment. And it's also about building community. The third one is actually independent living units. So this is also part of the living of active retirees, that you have a safe environment to actually live your life, having caregivers and also having nursing care, and also with a touch of a panic button, but also able to actually be more independent. And for those that need a little bit more assistance, then we have actually what we call assisted living units, where we have communities that are in a residential area but have professional nursing care, and also having the access to medical officers, doctors, and physiotherapy and whatnot. So everything is basically designed and catered for our residents and our patients as well. So the care services for older adults, effectively for CARE Concierge, we tried to look at the entire spectrum of care, as our promise was actually bound by actually the mission that we want to actually improve people's lives, have a better care, and also have accessibility. So part of that vision, also as a co-founder, is that we did this because for our company as well, we all have family members that we do take care of, right? In just a little bit of a history for myself, I had to take care of my grandma at an early age, and it was very difficult to do that. So it was important, and it's also very strenuous on the family members as well, as we look for whatever services and care. And so she moved in from staying at home to actually staying in a care facility. So these are important things that we wanted to actually to improve and also provide the care. So that is also why our services encompasses the entire thing, from home care all the way to assisted and independent living units. Okay, so the topic today also encompasses what type of care do older adults may require, right? So we take a fundamental approach in terms of the experiences. As you can see, a lot of it has to do with, yes, a lot of relationships, about community. The first thing is also about having the ability to support you from a physical and mental aspect. But it's important that for seniors, and also for generally everyone, it's about building a sense of community and connectiveness. And so everything that we do in our services is really about providing this ability to connect to other people by supporting them. So if you can see, the importance is connection and community, health and respect. And all these are the kind of intangibles that we try to build in terms of our senior care. So what is professional care? I guess it's a very generic term to talk about what professionalism is. But in the context of caring for seniors, I think a lot of, I guess the conversation is always about, having, maybe you might have a domestic helper or a maid at home, and what's the difference between having to, have a professional care? And it is a very big difference. And so I'll just go through that in terms of what is, maybe a checklist of what is important, right? So for us, professional care really talks about having a plan, right? So if anyone, as they're growing, older and they're senior, it's also very important to actually have a bit of a professional care plan. There's basically an assessment that is very different from not having one, right? So an assessment of where you are at the moment. And usually we do that so that you also work out what kind of interventions and strategy you do, encompassing the entire spectrum. It's also important to have focusing on what we call activities of daily living, so that as you continue to age, we look at things like the ability to do things daily. So from ambulation, feeding, transferring, and dressing. And so professional care actually means that you do that very well and consistently on a daily basis. Then it's also about having attention to special medical and physical conditions, because everyone is very different. So if, let's say, a particular client has dementia, then you'll be a very different, possibly a care plan, and also how we take care of them, as opposed to someone that is maybe have stroke or cancer, treatment and things like that. So it's very important that we actually talk about it in a sense that it is very personal. That also means that when you talk about bedridden, it's a very different care as opposed to someone that's more independent. And that also talks about the cognitive and also mental aspects of things. The fourth thing is actually social engagement. So that's talking about having social activities for special needs, physical activities, cognitive and companionship. So a lot of these has to be planned as well, so that things are not just ad hoc. And there's also a strategy. So that also includes about exercises and things like that, and also meeting people and having that support on the social part. Of course, the next thing is also about having meal preparation. So our team as well focuses on dietary needs because it's very important to feel to be healthy. So whatever food that you eat, it's important that that also is part of that entire encompassing service. And of course, household management, that comes also to activity daily living. So a lot of things like house chores, security and safety, it becomes a little bit difficult as you continue along. And so that support is important to have someone that goes through all the simple things on, things like working on utilities, helping out the house chores. Those things can be taken care of so that you actually have your own time to do your own thing. What's also important for professional care actually is also for the family members as well, because taking care of a loved ones can be very strenuous as well. So all these things means that by having someone plan this out consistently, then you're able to then live what we call live life undisrupted to do other things that you want to do. What we have here on the right side is a little bit of our app that allows us for all our care that you actually track in the heart rates, blood pressure. What we do then is to do this on a daily basis. So our caregivers actually track all these things for our clients, our patients, and that allows us for our nurses on our HQ to actually manage and see what's the conditions and then intervene as accordingly. Okay, so how do we provide professional care? So the most important thing is actually having an active recruitment of nurses, therapists, and caregivers. For us as CARE Concierge, we actually have about more than 2,000 of these caregivers in our database that we train and assess them. And so therefore, they are the professional care that we talk about. All of them have been assessed by a medical team, so our nurses. So what that means is that we validate, and we also see that some of the conditions of not everyone can be a good caregiver per se, even though they have the right skills. So it's about temperament, making sure that they have the right professionalism, as well as also understanding how to be, basically the soft aspects of being a caregiver. And so we actually assess them on that note and also do scenario-based training. We then have what we call verification by badges. So we actually have an internal system to actually identify the medical or caregiving skill sets. And I'll show that in the app animation on the right side. Of course, we have continuous training. So we actually have built one of the systems together with Utah University Tunku Abdul Rahman, which is our internal training for caregivers. So while we're waiting for, I guess, in a sense, a unified system in Malaysia, we actually came up with the first one that actually works on a university trained professional care that's actually managed by the nursing team there. So therefore, you have continuous training, and then we can also look at upgrading the skills for our caregivers to then be specialists and work accordingly. So of course, we are also the first in Malaysia to offer this certification. And of course, we look about continuous learning. So the journey about us is the philosophy that, well, caregivers actually get more experience and they learn more, and then they become better in that skill set. So what we have here on the right side is actually our app as well for our caregivers. That they actually learn through what we call badges, that they, for example, they learn things like hand washing all the way to NG2 feeding. And we actually have video tutorials, and then they come for our training and assessments. And all these things are done basically nationwide to all our caregivers that we send. So this is just some images for us that are on our center that we train. So we do, so the bottom right one is actually with the university that we do what we call an OSCE session. That all the caregivers would actually go through a scenario-based training and learning, and that actually takes more than basically a few weeks to go through before they can actually come for our to actually do cases as well. So a little bit about Commune Care, and we're very excited to be part of it because it's also a very exciting project that is focusing on integrated lifestyle. So it is an assisted living facility with private suites. Holistic senior living by the park. And it's also supported by our team as we look to use the app. We also do some, in terms of having the services of independent assisted and daycare. And we have a lot of activities there. So it's also about having a very much a community and lifestyle environment that we do. So this is some images of Commune Care. Basically, the activities and society is very important, and the support of the services will be in the back end. So it's really beautiful in the fact that it's in the park. These are beautiful. These are views of the center. And this is just a section of what the facility is. So what we come in as the operator, in a sense, is also to look at in a holistic project, right? So it's not just about the 900 units that you have there. It's also about integrated community lifestyle. So you have actually an entire deck that's also focused on activities, and having a professional caregiver that's supporting there means that you have the safety and security to do all the things that you wanted to do. And we're very proud to and also excited to be part of it. So just a few more images about the kind of landscaping environment that we have there, where all the activities will be held. And that also includes having professional physiotherapists, occupational therapists that have designed some of the activities that we have there. That is all about having a great lifestyle. So that's really much a little bit about us and the talk.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much, Martin, for taking us through that.
Thanks. Yep.
I'm going to see if there are questions. We're probably going to go through some of the questions that the audience may have.
Okay, great.
Awesome. So we've got a question from Lin Chan. Are you available in Penang, and where is your location? Do you have any plans
Great, Lin.
at all?
Actually, we do. We actually have a center in Penang. For first thing is that our home care, we are nationwide. So in Penang, we also have cases. And if you're interested, you can always get in contact with our team. Happy to do that. We also have a center, actually. It's in Tanjung Point Residence. It's actually a condominium that you actually overlook the sea. And it's a bit more independent living. It's very nice views, and as well as having a very nice lifestyle. So we have our caregivers there as well. So we are also talking about nationwide, basically, of course, in KL, Penang, Johor, as well as some of the states like Malacca and Ipoh and things like that. We are there. Yeah.
Cool. So I think on the topic of caregiving, a lot of the times people say that caregiving is a very strenuous business, or rather more a very challenging task, right? Because they not have to care for other people, they didn't care for themselves. In your opinion, like, do you provide mental health services for the caregivers? Because I know caregiving for elders, especially those on the other side of the spectrum, where they're they're probably suffering from things like dementia, Alzheimer's. How do you then care or look after the caregivers themselves and not just the people that they need to care for?
Thanks, Christina, for the question. Actually, that's a very important point to bring up as well. Caregivers actually, in essence, it's a very difficult situation to be in terms of a job. Of course, it comes from a passion, but it also means that can be a very strenuous situation as well for taking care of any senior. It's important to have a lot of patience involved. But having said that, it does take a toll, right? So one of the things that we talk about is having respite care. So caregivers in general does not necessarily mean that's a professional caregiver. If it's our own family member that taking care of. And usually what that means is that it is very strenuous. And so in our case, for our professional caregivers, we do have actually psychologists that actually help out some counseling if they require to, right? So this helps on a daily basis, but also we do a lot of sharing. And we do, and there's a big issue about caregiver burnout as well, which means that sometimes even though it's, we do have daily care, caregivers actually need a bit of a rest, right? So what we do then is that we have relievers, and then we give them a bit more time off, so that they can also have their own social, a bit of a breather. But definitely we do have our psychologists as well to help out in counseling. But really it's about supporting them as well. So how we see ourselves as an organization is really about supporting our caregivers more or less for them so they can focus on the residents themselves. Yeah, and that is why when we talk about our academy, training and upskilling, it's also about dealing with these kind of issues as well. So we see this as a very long-term process, and it's a very important thing to actually talk about. Yeah.
Would you be able to talk through some of the what exactly is covered in your academy? I mean, I know you've got a certification, but like, what sort of program for somebody who might be interested to kind of follow that career path?
Yeah, so one thing I forgot to mention also is that academy actually encompasses a lot more than just the careers. So we've got professional caregivers as well as actually family members that want to learn a bit of caregiving as well. So we also understand that for domestic helpers per se that they are taking care, or even family members, that it's also important for them to upskill, right? And therefore things like learning about ADLs, active daily living, is the most basic thing. So understanding how to transfer someone from the bed to a wheelchair, or to help them with assistance, or even to a car. We do that training. So coming back to our training program, what we do together with Utah is that we've gone through the basic principles of understanding how to do the basic ADLs, a little bit of medication management, so they understand the fundamentals of in terms of taking care of the medical side of it. We don't so much touch on the nursing part of it, but we do also go through communication and also understanding how to to be patient, how to deal with the care of residents. So all these things come together, and to also answer the other part is that we actually have a center right now. It's in YMCA in KL that we actually do this scenario-based training and assessment as well. So when you come to our place and training, you actually then do very hands-on things, right? So to us, our fundamental principle is it's not about writing, a lot of thesis and documents. It's really about doing the work. The theory is less and more on scenario-based learning, and it's a continuous thing. So we always continuously update our training so that additional things like, for example, how to care for someone or communicate with a patient that has dementia, as well as many different things, or how to do stroke care and a bit of exercises as well. So if anyone's interested, you can always contact us as well. Then we do have our training programs.
Great. I've got another question. There's a growing trend for this. I'm not sure if you're familiar with au pair. It's basically just like signing up to go and like be a nanny in a different country.
Yes.
So I've picked up a couple of trends where they actually have au pairs for the elderly.
Yes.
What do you think of that? I mean, it's because it's a very it's not like a professional caregiving business, right? It's because we don't get anything before that. It's just like if you like, hey, I want to go live in Paris and be an au pair for two elderly couple.
Yeah. So I think that's actually great. I think the concept of caregiving is really a concept of the kind of care that you give. So au pair is one of the examples, right? And that touches also on being a companion, which caregivers actually do, in a sense, a companion. They are also your friend in that sense, but being professional care. So it's certainly very good. And I think the industry as well is about making sure that that all these services of this kind of care is continuously built upon. So au pair is one example, caregiving is another example, but at the end, it's always in the service of people, right? It's about actually improving their quality of life, and that is the key for everything.
Great. Let me just go through the question one more time.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's all that we have.
Maybe just to add on to that point, the au pair part, actually part of the caregivers that we have and we can do, and we'll be doing that as well as community living, is also the very fact is that we do have excursions, that if you wanted to travel overseas and things like that. So the key is that the caregiver in a sense is like your assistant per se, right? So the concept also is that whatever you require to live a good life, you're meeting up with family or friends, you need some support. Therefore, there comes the ability of being able to do that and then having someone to support you. That is key. So that includes traveling, that includes the kind of lifestyle that you want, and having someone next to you is important. Even going to hospital per se, right? So then they can also help you with your, understanding what the doctor needs and then reporting back to family. These are all parts of the services.
Right. Okay. Like you say, it's a companion. It's a dual role of companion and assistant. And
absolutely. So it's a very interesting role, and I think it's also important that that's why when we filter or we go through who is a good caregiver, it's actually someone that's very patient, is a good listener, that is very caring, and also very professional. Yeah.
Great. Sorry, one more. So I think the way you describe the elder care spectrum right now, it's you've got your independent and you've got your assisted.
Yes.
What about the more severe cases where it's not just dementia, but the psychological disorders are also very big, right? You've got somebody with mild cases, but they're a little stronger or severe cases.
Yes.
Do you take those cases under your purview as well, care concierge?
Yes, we do. So what we will consider that would be under the assisted living
Right.
services. Effectively, we care for that. So it really depends on the condition as well, right? So if let's say we're talking about more serious conditions that they have a stroke, therefore they need more physio, they need more care. Someone's more bedridden. Definitely we can take care of that, because the promise for us also is that we see this as a lifetime journey. That for a senior, we don't just focus on an independent person, and then when they need more assistance, then we say, oh, sorry, that's it. What we do and our promise is to take care of you, as well as also take care of the family members as well. So when we talk about, in a sense, care for assisted or end of life care per se, we as a company actually does support that, right? So then we bring in whatever specialists that you require for your care. So it's very personalized, and that's why we always focus on the care plan so that we can work out what you need, right? If it's an independent person and you actually just need more activities per se, or you need to meet up community, then we talk about daycare and independent. But if you need more other care, then we will custom made it for you. So
Okay.
yes.
So this includes like somebody with a mental disorder, for example.
There are certain conditions that, if there are certain medical conditions that maybe perhaps it's a bit difficult, therefore certain facilities, like for example, even like Commune, will be more, those kind of mental disorders may be a bit of a different facility, which we also have. So what we then do is personalize it and then give you the advice of which center to actually go, or even do it at home. Yeah.
Okay, great. I think that's all the questions we have today. Thank you so much for enlightening us with all these answers. I hope everybody here has something to take away from this very short and brief session. Right, so I think that wraps up our discussion for today. Thank you again, Martin, for being with us and spending your morning with us.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone.
That's right. So sorry. I guess we're probably just gonna end here. What we can do is you can access a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel, our website, and our social media at the end of the month, where you can also learn more about Commune Living and Wellness. So as we're going to wrap up our Silver Circle series for the year next week with Care Hub's topic on the senior lifestyle, from active aging to healthy aging. So I think registrations for that will be open soon. So make sure you check out that next session, and don't forget to fill out the post-event form right after this, where you will stand a chance to win a free one-night stay with breakfast at Commune Living Bangsar South, or FMD vouchers to be used at Commune Cafe Bangsar South. Right. Thanks everybody. Stay safe and have a great weekend.